Welcome to Below the Line with Dr. Benny L. Harris. The Chancellor of the University of South Carolina Upstate talks with top leaders about issues such as change, technology, education, and leadership. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Below the Line. I'm here with Krish Patel, founder and chief executive officer of KVP Inc., a private equity management and real estate development firm focused on providing space for enterprising entrepreneurs. Welcome, Chris, to our Below the Line conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. And I'm excited about this conversation because you epitomize everything that I think America is all about. You epitomize everything that I think what college education is all about and the whole college experience should be about. So I have a few questions here. I'm going to start off with this question. I understand that entrepreneurship has been a part of your life since you were a toddler. And I believe that you continue that into your first job at age 10 years old as the drive-through window attendant at your parents' dry cleaning business. How did these early experiences spark your interest in entrepreneurship?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, especially to be back at campus where a lot of my lessons of building character, being a young man, and serving the community, I think played a big part in. So to answer your question, you know, I had the privilege and the opportunity to watch my parents be small business owners.
Okay.
And the one thing that always was instilled into me at a young age was anything that you dream for, if you go out there and work for it, anything's possible. Mm-hmm. And so the ideas that really gravitated towards my interests were not about owning the business, but it was more of being self-employed and chasing something that you have a passion for or that has a bigger purpose. And in my parents' case, it was to build a family, mm-hmm. live the American dream, and they used their entrepreneurial skills to create that lifestyle.
Okay. So you attended USC Upstate, and while also commuting to and working in Greenville. So just to give context, that's about a 25-mile trip, but it could be a 45-minute to an hour trip back and forth. What was that like, and was it difficult to balance your academics with work?
Yes, just kind of going back memory lane, you know, I'm such a driven and task-focused type of individual, mm-hmm. so when I set my freshman year schedule, when I came onto campus, I looked at all my classes. I think I was taking 5 classes a semester, and I said, okay, I'm going to take all of the AM classes. I'm going to start at 8 o'clock, be done by 11, 12 o'clock, and then I'll be able to jump in the car, drive down to Greenville, get to work by 1:30, 2 o'clock latest, work till 10 p.m., drive back. So my freshman year, I was working about 25 to 30 hours a week. Mm-hmm. After freshman year, that summer, I didn't really have any summer plans, so I said, hey, Verizon, can I work full-time for the summer? So then starting my sophomore year, I was working full-time, going to school full-time, living in Spartanburg, commuting in Greenville, and that happened all the way till graduation.
Now, that exhausted me just you telling me that story. Now, I don't imagine a freshman student thinking that way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited about you being our convocation speaker. So this year, so as the freshmen come in, first-year student, they have the opportunity to hear part of your story. So I understand that you considered dropping out at one time, or many times, my notes tell me, but what kept you coming to school and how, and I know that you made the right choices and that you were given the opportunity to take this course in entrepreneurship and create a business plan that will later become wireless communication. So what kept you going? Because you just articulated a very, very demanding schedule.
Yes, sir. I have to give credit where credit's due. What kept me going is the line being drawn at home by my mom saying, it doesn't matter what kind of money you're making or what kind of job you have. Education's a must.
Okay.
And school is non-negotiable. And now looking back on it, it's the best advice I've ever received. Because at the time, I didn't realize the lessons, the relationships, how to be in service for your community, all those things that you learn, but you don't realize you learned it until you reflect back.
Yeah.
And the people you meet, the relationships, the people you go to school with, the teachers that are able to give you a little bit of their wisdom that you can take with you.
Yeah. You know, looking at life in the rearview mirror sometimes are the best lessons that you can have. When you look in that mirror and you look back and you see all the wonderful things, the whys of many of the things that took place. So you bought your first Verizon store in 2008 at about the age of 20. After putting your house up for collateral on a $65,000 loan, were you afraid to take that risk?
You know, I got to be honest. Afraid wasn't one of the emotions that I was feeling at the time.
Okay.
20, I was finishing my undergrad. I was already making close to $100,000 in sales working for Verizon Corporate. By the way, I started my first LLC with a fraternity brother of mine here at Upstate, and we were flipping houses. So I was working full-time, going to school full-time, started an LLC. We were flipping houses downtown Greenville. And so I was full of ambition, vision, dreams. And my parents encouraged me. They said, if this is what you want to do, then go all out, do it. You know, I was 20 years old. If I failed, who cares?
Okay.
I had the rest of my life ahead of me.
Yeah.
So fear was not an emotion that I could remember.
Okay.
There was ambition and excitement, maybe a little bit nervous, but not fearful.
Yeah. So the risk was just part of the experience. It was part of the reality, what you were doing and what you had done.
Absolutely, because I knew I was betting on myself.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So by the end of 2010, you had about 17 Verizon stores under the wireless communication umbrella. From there, you grew the business to about 50 stores in Georgia, South Carolina, and Texas. And by 2012, yours had been named the fastest growing business in South Carolina by the Greenville Business Magazine and ranked 25th nationally in the Inc. 500. And then by 2015, you exited that business and opened up a yoga studio called Soul Yoga in Greenville. Let's talk about that journey. 17 stores and fastest growing in South Carolina, 50th, 25th nationally, and then yoga. Soul Yoga.
Yes, sir. So when I was growing this business, wireless communications, at our peak, 300 employees. We were in 5 states, actually. We were doing about $50 million in top-line revenue. Our break-even was $1.3 million gross profit. Okay. That number was embedded in my head each month. And I thought this was going to be my legacy business. Thought this was going to be a family business. Private equity guys started knocking on our doors, and that was the first time I'd ever thought about exiting. Shifting gears, in order for me to be able to lead that organization at that time, the only way I knew how to operate was always on, always ready, always in attack mode, always in growth mode.
Okay.
So Krish, as an individual, came second.
Okay.
Krish, as the CEO, was always on. And, you know, I wouldn't say I wasn't out of shape, but I was definitely, there was room for opportunity. And so wellness started just coming my way, and people's like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to try yoga. And I was like, I'm not doing yoga. And then one day I went to a yoga studio and fell in love with the time that I was investing for me, so that way I can better serve the people in my ecosystem. And so then my wellness journey began.
Okay.
Clean eating, working out, sleeping right. And I became obsessed with it because I was like, this type of lifestyle, whether you're a CEO or a professional or a busy parent or just somebody that's very involved in the community, you have to take care of yourself before you can serve other people. And so that's kind of how that wellness journey began, is because I became aware that if I'm not taking care of me, then I can't take care of other people. Okay.
So tell me, this is not one of the questions that I have, but it triggers some thinking. You're still relatively young at this time, and still now, but definitely at this time, you're relatively young. Had you ever thought about burnout or anything? Because you were driving and you have this break-even number in your head daily, every morning. You're building stores. You have 50 stores now. You have over 300 employees. did you get tired or exhausted or thought about burnout at any point?
So a couple of responses to that. The first one is my two role models, my mom and my dad, they instilled work ethic. And I watched that. I watched the mentality of until the job gets done. And those characteristics of small business ownership, very grateful that I learned that at a young age. I didn't even know what burnout was.
Yeah.
I knew the concept and I knew how to create a healthy culture for my employees so they don't get burned out. But I'm the owner. I'm the CEO. I'm the leader. I'm the one front and center.
Yeah.
I was never a behind the desk CEO. I was in the stores shaking hands with customers, recruiting employees, doing site selections. So that was the role that I stepped into, and those are my responsibilities. So burnout was never even in the realm of my thought process.
Okay. So you opened the second Soul Yoga studio in Simpsonville in 2019, and then own the Wanderlust Yoga Studio, one of the largest in the country in Austin, Texas. How is growth in the yoga business different from or similar to that in the wireless communication business?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, when I was in the wireless business, we were selling a utility for people to connect.
Okay.
That we didn't create, that we didn't do R&D on, that we didn't have to spend billions of dollars marketing and communicating to the public. We were a reseller for a Fortune 50 company.
Okay.
And so we jumped on the bandwagon with Verizon Wireless to resell their products and services. So a lot of the work was done, think of it like a franchise. With our yoga and our wellness brand, we have to find individuals that are educators in this industry of yoga and wellness and health. And we had to do quality care inspections to make sure that this is healthy. This is the way we want to share this, because we didn't invent that either. It's a 5,000-year-old lineage that we're trying to make adaptable to our society. So we're learning something from the past. We're trying to make sure that it's adaptable and it can be packaged and received. And then we're doing quality control. But it's all that business, just like my other one, all about people.
Okay. So as you talked about yoga, it just really made me think about myself. It's hard to hear you talk and not reflect on my own behavior. So I think I'm going to try to figure out how to get into this yoga thing.
Yeah.
But wellness is very important. You know, we do a lot of things here at USC Upstate. I also hear that you're an avid cyclist. What drew you to that sport? Are you competitive? I think that's a question I probably already know the answer to. Is it do you is it something that's more reflective and thoughtful for you, or is it both?
It's a little bit of both. So my love and passion for cycling actually started in indoor cycling for years, as far as I can remember, at least, 10 years ago. And one thing about me, since my wellness journey began in 2012, is that I learned that if I move my body, it will help me generate a positive spirit.
Okay.
And if I don't move my body, then I could be stuck in an energy or a space that may not be serving for me to be the best version of me. So whether it's running or biking or cycling or yoga, I'll try it.
Okay.
So cycling began years ago, and then some of my friends introduced me to outdoor cycling. Outdoor cycling is a big sport and hobby in the Upstate. We have many retired professional cyclists, so there's a big community.
Right.
And so when you see your friends out there active, you start doing it. And one of my friends, she introduced me to a little bit more distance cycling. So I've actually got a ride coming up in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Greenville to Charleston, 255-mile ride. It's a ride to raise awareness and funds for the Alzheimer's Foundation of South Carolina.
Okay.
And so all the proceeds that go for cyclists go toward the Alzheimer's Foundation. Last year, I think this ride raised close to $1 million. But I just love it because besides that one activity, I love being outdoors. I love moving my body, and it's a way to connect with other individuals that are like-minded, that want to stay healthy and move their body, and that know that the cardio movement is one that will help you build to last.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So tell me about KVP Inc. and how it fits into your entrepreneurship puzzle.
KVP Inc. is a real estate development and private equity company. We manage close to $100 million in assets. Most of what we do is we develop ground up.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on self-storage. We focus on retail. We focus on office. Through all my years of my wireless communications venture, all of our new real estate and site selections, I was spearheading all that.
Okay.
So I inherently learned the skills and the qualities and the data points to find good real estate.
Okay.
And so when I sold my first tranche of stores, we sold 45 stores in 2015. I was really passionate about real estate.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, as I mentioned earlier, I started my first LLC in real estate, when I was right here at USC Upstate. And it's just something about finding real estate to create value and then to push it back out in the market was something I was really inspired by.
Okay. What's next for you, Chris?
So one thing that I learned early on by mentors and professional coaches and people that continue to push me to be a better version of myself is kind of a 3-ladder stepping stool. Learn, earn, and give.
Okay.
And, I'm at a place in my life where I'm always a learner every single day. Earning is just a byproduct of what we do.
Right.
But how we can leave our community in a better place or how we can add value to the community, things that really inspire me. Through my journey, I spent some time living in Austin, Texas, spent some time living in Atlanta. And when I got to these bigger cities, there's so much beauty you can bring back to a small town. And a lot of people are fearful of fast growth in small communities. But there's ways you can add things that make small towns charming and make small towns appealing. And bring diversity, bring things that you would not commonly see in smaller towns. So in essence, when we do real estate development, we try to bring things from outside of our community and within our community to bring something different.
Okay, great. So how do you think your employees would describe your leadership style, and how would you describe yourself as a leader?
I would say that my employees would say that Krish is a visionary, that when there is a vision set, he is determined to make sure that comes to reality.
Okay.
And that he's a hard worker. I hope that's what they would say. I think if there was one more thing that would be, as a relationship standpoint, is that customer experience is number one in every business we do. Without focusing on the customer, it's really hard to have a legacy business, in my opinion.
You talk about that, and I used to teach and do a lot of studies around servant leadership, and all of what I'm hearing about is some of the same characteristics and models of servant leaders in terms of focus on the customer, the upside-down pyramid, those type of things. You treat your customer exceptionally well, and they will come back, and your shareholders and you will make money as a result of that particular experience. So that's all consistent. Let's talk a little bit about what this title is about, Below the Line. And as I shared with you before we started that I'd heard this term being coined by a president that I knew and that I worked for, and he talked about it within the context of conflict management. So I began to think about that within the context of leadership. What happens below the line, and how we as leaders have to make decisions every day, but we don't always have the knowledge of what's happening or what people are thinking, what's behaving. We may be negotiating at one level, but there's something else going on that may impede that. How do you lead within that context? How do you think about the below the line context, leading things that you don't know about?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, the first thing that comes to my mind is that there has to be a culture of greatness in every organization, if that's what you're aspiring to be. And for us, one of our business, our core values, talks about the team and the customer, but we always come back to the team.
Okay.
Because without investing in your people, it's really hard to serve your customers.
Yeah.
And in order to invest into your team and to get them on board with the vision and where you're going, there has to be communication. There has to be communication all the way to the front line and regular communication. In fact, we do an annual assessment. For one of our businesses, we had 65 20-minute Zoom calls. We do them annually, and our last question is all around feedback. What can we do better to serve you? What can we do better to serve our customers? What can we do to serve you outside of this job? And we ask those questions because we grow from feedback. And if your culture, as it relates to business, is not promoting open communication about how we can serve better or how we can do better, I don't know how long something like that can last.
Okay. So have you worked with mentors over the course of your career, and how they've helped you? And have you become a mentor yourself? And let's talk about that experience and what you learned from it, and both having worked with mentors, if you have, or in your own mentorship journey, mentoring others.
I've had the privilege and extreme honor to have some great mentors and business and professional coaches in my life, and that's one thing that I was guided to very early. I think the phrase is success leaves clues, and stand on the shoulders of other giants.
Yeah.
And typically, the leaders that want to change the world will bring other people up with them.
Okay.
And I had that at a very young age in my wireless communication days, even till now. Different parts of my life, I've had the opportunity to be with people that have already been to where I want to go.
Okay.
And of course, I've had some opportunities to mentor or serve young entrepreneurs or young leaders. And my whole philosophy is, share as much as you can, so that way the people rising up have that opportunity, have that upper advantage. Yeah. And to be quite honest, there's nothing special that I do. There's nothing unique that I created. I'm not Tim Cook or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, but we do know how to run a business. We do know how to build communities. We do know how to build people, so they can do better in the marketplace.
I love hearing that, because I've gotten to know you since I've been in the Upstate, and I've watched you serve on boards like the Urban League and give back to the community and help to build up capacity. So I've seen that actually in practice. But I'm curious, do you have a hero? Do you have a hero?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier on, and family is, if not the biggest part of my life, it is probably tied with how I want to serve. But my parents have always been my role models, and not because there was one thing, but it was because of all the things.
Okay.
All the things that they did to shape character, to walk the footsteps and ask you to follow and give you reasons why, not just do this because I'm telling you to do it. And both of my parents are unique and different in their own ways, but from family to working hard to serving to doing what's right to being honest, I couldn't not give them the credit for being heroes for me.
Yeah. Are both your parents living still?
Yes, sir.
Their names are?
My dad is VJ.
Okay.
And my mom is Alka.
Alka?
Alka.
Alka.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have a mantra or a quote that speaks to you as a leader?
I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to quotes, so it changes. It changes really in kind of what cycle I am. But right now, for me, I'm on a journey of service.
Okay.
And anytime I get stuck in any situation, I always ask myself, am I thinking about me, or am I thinking about serving other people?
Okay.
Because what I've found is that when you're thinking about yourself, that's when problems happen. But when you can figure out a way to serve more than yourself, then the answers generally come.
Okay.
If your heart's in a good place.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I have a cup. I wish I had it sitting here with me that when I became chancellor here at USC Upstate, I gave as a gift. And because my mother gave me this lesson about Benny, live life with an empty cup. There should always be room in your cup to receive input from others. And she would say that you don't have to drink it all. When they leave, you can pour some of it out, but you have to have the humility to receive it. So today, Krish, you have filled my cup. My cup was empty. I came here with an empty cup, and you filled it, and I just appreciate it. And hopefully the listeners will learn from what you've shared. And so thank you again. I'm here with Krish Patel, Below the Line. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was incredible.
The Below the Line podcast is brought to you by the University of South Carolina Upstate. Look for our monthly write-up in Greenville Business Magazine, and for more information, go to uscupstate.edu.